Hello everyone, here you are listening to Dr. Bin Kumar, and this is the third series of soil science. Here we will discuss about the weathering of rocks. So first of all, I will explain you what is the weathering. Weathering is a geological process essentially destructive in nature and which leads to the formation of simple compound from solid rocks of earth crust. Suppose this is the earth crust or rocks. When it will be exposed by the physical, chemical or biological factor, so it will disintegrate and the destruction in the structure of the previous parents material will happen, and this will leads to formation of the new compound from that rocks. So this is actually called the weathering. So types of the weathering: first is the physical weathering, second is the chemical weathering, and third is the biological weathering. We will discuss step by step of each. The first of is the physical weathering. Physical weathering, hot and cold climate, these are the one of the factor which leads to the formation of soil by the weathering process. How it's happened: when in hot condition and in cool condition, different materials, suppose these two are different materials having a different coefficient of expansion and contraction, and that's why the peeling out on the outer layer of these two material will happen on the basis of their differences in the expansion and contraction. So this will lead to the formation of breakdown or peel off of outer layer, and in this way the rocks will be weathered. And other is freezing and thawing. We are knowing that in the rocks itself water molecules are available, and when the freezing will happen, when temperature will go down, so in this case what happen, the increase in the volume of water will happen, and this increment will be 9% in the volume, and this will exert 150 ton per square feet of the pressure. So this pressure will lead to disintegration of the rocks and breaking of the rocks. So in this way the weathering process will occur. And other is glacier. In our mountainous system and in the hilly area, we will find that most of the mountains are covered with the glacier, and glacier itself is having the potential to grind the rocks, and it is proven that when 100 feet of the thickness of the glacier is is there, then it will have the power of 40 pounds per square inch of the grinding power. Other is the wind. We are knowing that the wind is the one of the most important process for the weathering in area of arid where the moisture is very less. So when the wind will attack on the rocks or even on the soil, so it will behave differently, and that will cause corrosive action on there. And here if you see that when the wind attack on the soil, so it will make the movement in the soil particle. So larger particle will be creep along the surface of the soil, so this will call your creeping, and some smaller than this will jump and will go at some distance. So this is saltation process. And some smaller particle that is very tiny, and that will be suspend in the air, and that will go very long distance in the air. So these are the process through which the wind also cause the physical weathering. Other is the stream flow. When we know that the glacier melt from our mountain, it will go on through the rift valley, and this velocity of the water itself is causing the breaking of the harder rocks or bigger rocks into smaller rocks, and finally into the silt and in the soil form. And it has been proven that transporting power of moving water is varies as 6 power of its velocity. If the velocity is the 1, then its transporting power will be 6 times of that. So these were the physical weathering, and now we are moving toward the chemical weathering. The chemical weathering will compose of the 2 steps. First step will be the disappearance of the mineral will happen, and then the formation of the secondary mineral will happen. So in the chemical weathering, different type of the weathering is there. So the first is the hydration. We know the hydration, it means that combination of the water molecules with a particular substances or mineral, and it leads to the change in the structure. Suppose here I have taken the example of hematite. This is red in color, but when the water molecules are added, then it convert into limonite, and the color will change in yellow. Other example is anhydrite, like calcium sulfate. When it added with 2 molecules of the water, then it form gypsum. So these are some best example of the hydration process. I am moving towards other is the hydrolysis. As we know, the hydrolysis is the one of the most important process in the chemical weathering. And actually hydrolysis is what? When the water molecules is split into two, hydrogen and hydroxyl. So hydrogen will, suppose here in the soil orthoclase is available, so this hydrogen will replace this potassium, and this potassium will go and bind with this hydroxyl, and this will form potassium hydroxide. And here this hydrogen replace the potassium, so it will become acid silt clay. So this is the one of the best example of the hydrolysis. Other is the carbonation. Carbonation involves the chemical addition of carbon dioxide to the earth material, and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere or in air trapped within the soil, there will be also carbon dioxide is readily absorbed to water, and this will form the carbonic acid. When the water and carbon dioxide will combine, then this will form the carbonic acid, and this leads to the weathering of the rocks. And as for your information, I want to tell that carbonation and hydrolysis are working together as the one of the these two are the most important process for the achieving the decomposition of the rocks. Next is the oxidation. I think you might be knowing and seeing in your surrounding, when you expose any iron material in the air or in open place, so that there will be the rusting on there. So this is the one of the best example of the oxidation. Oxidation means addition of the oxygen to a compound. Okay, and oxygen having a very strong affinity to iron. This has been proven. And in soil, I want to tell, there will be a silicate mineral such as hornblende, olivine, your pyrites, and these iron minerals, when exposed to the oxygen and water, so this will form limonite. Actually, what iron crust you see on the iron rod, that is actually the limonite, and sometimes it is also called iron hydroxide. So it is actually iron, oxygen and water. Other is the hydration process. Actually, hydration is a process where water will be absorbed by mineral and incorporated into weathering product. Okay, so suppose here anhydrite, calcium sulfate, when it will absorb the water, it will become gypsum. When it will become gypsum, then its volume will increase, and when its volume will increase, it will exert external force. So in the place where it is, it will cause the external force. So that's why the breaking of rocks in the form of physical will also happen. Other is the solution. We are knowing that water is behaving dipole because of its two type of the valency. One is the positive one and other is the negative one. And because of its dipolar in nature, it is one of the best solvent, naturally best solvent. And if you see here, the water molecule itself bonded with the other water molecule by the hydrogen bonding. And suppose any materials are laying or minerals are laying in the soil, and that is also having the one side positive and negative, and other is the positive. So water molecule itself having the tendency to bind these minerals also or materials also. So this is actually the one of the process through which solution process through which the weathering happen. And third is, now though these were all the what were discussed, that or the chemical weathering, and now the third is the biological weathering. Biological weathering means it is actually the weathering which happen in the form of physical and chemical. Only difference is that the agent those are responsible for this weathering is living organism, will be living organism. Means the weathering process either in the form of physical or chemical will done by a living organism. And best example, if you want to see that the animal, burrowing animal, those are making burrow in the soil, they are also responsible for the weathering of the rocks. And our earthworm, the farmer's friend, is the one of the best example also. This is also calling continuously doing work in the process of the weathering. And suppose some plants are growing on the rocks, their root system will be grow in the rocks, and rocks will be break down by the force of these roots. And as well as simultaneously the root system will exude some chemical that will lead to the chemical weathering process in that place. So I think you understand what is the weathering or types of the weathering and how it happen in the soil and what are the factor reason behind this, and you enjoy it too. If you want to know more update about the agriculture and like this video, you can like my Facebook page Dr. Bin Kumar, and you can also follow me on my Twitter agrobipiniri, and for more related video like this you can subscribe here and suggest your friend to subscribe here so they will also get benefit. Thank you for watching my video.